Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Now, thank you very much for your time, Prabhuji. I know you are very, very busy with yatra and traveling to different places. Prabhuji is in Bhubaneswar. He just reached Bhubaneswar last night. He kindly accepted to give this class and also share the nectar from Srila Prabhupada Lilamruta. We will be ending the class at around 7:55. Prabhuji has to give another class in Bhubaneswar from 8 o'clock. So, thank you, Prabhuji. Welcome to Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Prabhuji will be sharing the nectar from Srila Prabhupada Lilamruta from the chapter number 5, titled The War. Prabhuji, thank you, Prabhuji. Over to you, Prabhu.
Om Jnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamini Namane. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So today we will be discussing from Lilamruta, chapter 5, which is entitled The War. Okay. So, actually, this chapter is entitled The War. The war here has two meanings. One is the internal war, and there is the external conflict, World War II, which is happening there at that time. So the internal war is within the Gaudiya Math, and the external war is the World War. So both are going on simultaneously. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur disappeared in 1936, December 31st, 1936. And after the departure, there was a big turmoil within the Gaudiya Math. It ripped apart into pieces because of self-interest, and the whole movement became stunted because of the internal conflict. See, when there is a war, the team can win, a country can win the war, provided their internal delivery is strong. Even though the external force may be strong, but if they're internally very strong and cooperative with each other, still they can win. Like the five Pandavas, they were having nice cooperation among themselves, so they could win against 100 Kauravas also. Right? The numbers of the Kauravas was bigger, much bigger, but still the Pandavas could win because of cooperation, unity, and all. So now, devotees, we are declaring war against Maya, war against materialism, war against atheism, war against all kinds of isms, because we only want one thing, that is Krishna consciousness, which is the highest benefit to the society. All kind of isms, nationalism, socialism, they are all temporary. They end one day. But the spiritualism is the one thing which can really benefit the person. So we are declaring war against Maya and Maya's forces. If we stand united, then we can actually win the war. It's possible. Although the number of devotees may be small, but still we can win the war. But if there is internal conflict within the devotee circle, then you will see that the whole preaching mission becomes stunted. There is no growth. So that's one lesson which we can learn from this chapter. So details of this chapter go like this. So when in 1936, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati departed, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur made a will. He wrote his last wish. So in that last wish, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati wrote clearly that after his departure, there should be a GBC, Governing Body Committee, which will take care of the affairs of the Matha. He specifically told that there should be 12-member committee, and these 12 members should look into the affairs of Gaudiya Math. So all that was very clearly written in his last will, but still the followers of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, they did not follow it. They are supposed to follow, but they did not follow. And they started thinking that there should be one successor. Again, generally, every matha, they have a system of succession. There is Mathadipati, and then he appoints a next Mathadipati, and then the next Mathadipati. So, like this, it goes on, the parampara goes on. One person takes charge of the entire matha. So, but Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, seeing the influence of Kali Yuga, he felt that this system is not going to work. We need a group of devotees to manage mathas in Kali Yuga. Even to manage temples, sometimes we need committees to manage temples because one person may not be able to handle everything. So requires a lot of spiritual strength and maturity to handle matha or temple. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati wanted a group of devotees to manage, but the devotees some of the devotees started campaigning for. There was one sannyasi by the name Ananta Vasudeva, and they campaigned him that he should be the leader. And there is another group of devotees, they said, no, Kunji Bihari should be our leader. So, like, there's two parties became within the matha, and they started taking possessions of different mathas. Right? So, Kunji Bihari Prabhu had some mathas under his possession, and then Anant Vasudeva and his team had possession of some other mathas. So, in this way, they started possessing the mathas, and then finally it went to the court also to make it legally transferred to their names. They wanted the court approvals, and both the parties went to court and they started fighting. So they wanted possession of all the matters. Both of them wanted possession of all the matters. So in this way, they went to the court, and the court heard both the parties, and uh, and they had to spend a lot of money also for the court case. So Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, his heart was in book distribution and book printing and distribution. So he had established printing press also. So to fight the court case, they sold the printing machines which they had acquired. And Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati at that time he had got the latest machines, most advanced machines from Europe. And those machines were sold just for fighting the court case. So this was too much. And all the matas stopped preaching because the mood became more of possessiveness. 64 matas were there at that time. 64 properties and valuables and much and people. So so the so so they got diverted in this case. So then what happened was the court gave order that two-thirds will go to one person and one-third of the properties will go to another person. So in this way, the matter was settled. So but the problem did not end. It went on further. So when Srila Prabhupada was observing all this, Srila Prabhupada says, no, the Gaudiya Math, which had always been known for pure, bold preaching of the message of Lord Chaitanya, was now becoming known for embroiled factions. As the Gaudiya Math broke down, he also was affected. Srila Prabhupada was also affected. He wanted to preach because he wanted to preach in Gaudiya Math. He didn't want to go outside. Within Gaudiya Math, staying within Gaudiya Math, he wanted to preach and expand the movement. But now Gaudiya Math itself is having problems. And previously, the main obstacle to his preaching had been family commitments. But now the obstacles were compounded. The obstacles were within the matha, within the devotee circle only. Right? Now he had to wait very helplessly for the outcome of this struggle. Yeah. Yes. So Kunji Vihari Guru and Ananta Vasudev, both of them captured different buildings, and then they Uh, Quarrels and fist fights broke out. Can you imagine devotees fighting fist to fist, huh? Punching each other, beating each other? This what started happening there. And the preaching of the Gaudiya stopped. Mm. Mm. And Abhay stayed away from all this fighting. Mm. And some of the mature Gaudiya leaders, they also avoided this fighting, like Sridhar Maharaj, Bhakti Saranga Maharaj, and some of them, they avoided all this thing and they kept separate from the fight because they didn't want all these things to happen. So they made separate center, they made separate matha, and then they started preaching. They continued their preaching because all these infights were stopping preaching. So eventually, preaching stopped. So others group of sannyasis who didn't want to fight, they continued their preaching, and Abhay supported them. In fact, the sannyasis came to Abhay's home. On top of Abhay's home, there was a empty apartment. So they rented that apartment, and from there they were preaching. And daily they used to do Mangalarti, Kirtans, and classes. And I also used to go there and sit for classes. In this way, they continued their preaching. And eventually, what happened was, although two leaders became in the Gaudiya Matha, one of them, Ananta Vasudeva, he fell down because of weakness with the opposite sex. He fell down, and along with him, the whole Gaudiya Matha also collapsed because they lost faith. So in this way, a lot of problems crept into the Gaudiya Matha. And Abhay stayed away from all this. And he wanted to preach, he wanted to do, and he was waiting for the right opportunity. And now he got a very serious inspiration to start writing books. Till now, he was just doing whatever bit possible in the Matha by supplying some occasional articles and supporting monetarily. But now, Abhay he got inspiration to write and publish himself some articles and books. So he started writing. He started writing on the current affairs and relating it to Krishna consciousness. Like, for example, at that time there was war, the World War II had begun. Right? Countries like Germany, Japan, America, and UK, they were all fighting with each other. And India was also dragged into this fight because India was a colony of the British. We were a British colony. So India was also dragged. And Indians were also forcefully recruited into the battle. So more than 2 million, 20 lakh Indians were recruited into the army and they were sent to different places across the world for fighting. And so this is one war going on. And Prabhupada took this theme and he wanted to write articles. Although he wanted to write and publish articles, so there was another challenge, and the challenge was paper. So he wrote a 40-page booklet. Material was ready, but he didn't have paper to publish it. So he was wondering what to do, because all the paper was in government control. They didn't release it. So Abhay Babu had to actually go and request the government to release papers. And he also wrote a very strong mail to them to release the papers. I'd like to read that. Mhm. Yeah, it comes here. Yeah, these are the names of sannyasis who wanted to preach. Sridhar Maharaj, Puri Maharaj, Bhakti Saranga Maharaj. And they opened a matha called Devananda Saraswati Matha. And they continued the preaching. Mhm. I want to read that letter which Srila Prabhupada wrote to, yeah, the government. Yeah, here. The government appointed agents began to purchase the rice and other commodities which are daily necessities. Yeah. They can print so-called papers, $100. Yeah, okay, not this one. There's another one. It comes here. Yeah. He appealed that using paper to print the teachings of personality quality was not a waste and untimely, and not untimely. In the present troubled atmosphere, finally he obtained permission to print for his first edition of Active Word, a 40-page publication. So Prabhupada writes here. But when he went to buy paper, he met the government restrictions. Because of the war and the subsequent paper shortage, they wanted to assay what he had written in terms of national needs. During this time of word crisis and ordinary citizens, religious newspaper was hardly top priority. So basically, everything was scrutinized by the government before printing. So they wanted to check what Abhay has written. So, and when Abhay insisted that so much of printing is going on, why not we print some very good articles so that this troubled atmosphere can be brought under control. So people can feel solace. So then they gave permission to print his books. So Prabhupada writes that he got inspiration to write the articles, and he also got inspiration to print and distribute them. So he personally started distributing his articles. And in one of these, in the magazine, in the backside, he also wrote that he is going to publish a 1,200-page Bhagavad Gita as it is, with word-to-word meanings and uh, purports, word-to-word meaning and purports. So that advertisement also Prabhupada wrote. But hardly there was any work going on Bhagavad Gita. But Prabhupada wanted to show to the world that I want to do this Herculean task of writing Bhagavad Gita. And also he wanted to write Chaitanya Charitamrita into English also. So that also he advertised. Although it was not complete, still he put an advertisement saying that this is work in progress, and those who wish to have a copy can contact me. So like this, Prabhupada wrote it. So this goes to show that Prabhupada was very much eager to fulfill the desire of his spiritual master. So although the instruction was received in 1922, he started executing the instruction in 1944. In 1944, he printed the first Back to Godhead magazine. Before that, he had just written some articles for the Harmonist, and here and there some articles he had written. And one article was read by Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, and reading that article, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was so happy that he told that whatever he writes, print it. No need to show to me. Spiritual master is giving such an order that whatever he writes, print it. Means Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati was so confident about Abhay's writings that he gave a standing order that you print it. So that much confidence and faith. And another thing was Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati recognized Abhay's qualities, and he told that in future he will do everything. It comes in the same chapter. Because some of the God brothers were insisting, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati, Abhay Baba is very intelligent, very hardworking. Why doesn't he become a active member of the Matha and take up some responsibilities? But Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati did not encourage that. He said, at the right time, he will do everything. So now we leave him. So in this way, they left him, and then in the future, uh, Abhay will do everything. He will write, he will publish, he will print, he will distribute, He will manage temples, he will travel all over the world. And that's what happened. Srila Prabhupada did it. But in this Grahastha stage, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati doesn't want to push it. Similarly, in our preaching also, you'll find some devotees who may not be contributing right now, but they have intense desire to preach, intense desire to serve. Somewhere in the future, sometime, they will surely uh, uh, dedicate and do wonderful services. Right. Similarly, some of us also may not be immediately able to contribute and dedicate ourselves to the mission full time, right? Because of job, because of family, children, so many other commitments will be there. But the desire to serve should never die away. We should always have the desire. And when will I serve my spiritual master? When will I distribute books? When will I preach? When will I do deity worship? When will I do whatever services Guru has told me to do? So we should not be in the comfortable zone always. We should always desire to do more and more and more kind of service. We should never be comfortable. If we stay comfortable, then that's very dangerous for our spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada, even in his Grihastha life, he was always thinking of preaching. You will see that I'll show some of the sections where some of his neighbors in Kolkata they are telling about Abhay. They say that he was hardly interested in his business and he was more interested in preaching Krishna consciousness and discussing Krishna consciousness. So that's what the neighbors say. And even Bhakti Shikshidhar Maharaj and all, they also used to say that he was more of a spiritual person. The Chandi Mukherjee, a neighbor from the nearby Bihari state, he means Abhay, was interested only in devotional activities and he did his business only to maintain the family. He didn't seem interested in the profit motive, in accumulating money or becoming a rich man. So this is hardly any goal of the Srila Prabhupada. He just wanted to discuss Krishna Katha. Another person says, Abhay Charan Dev was always very patient listener to every illogical argument that anybody, including myself, would bring to him. Not knowing philosophy, I would illogically present so many arguments, and Mr. Dev would always very patiently listen. Nothing agitated him. He was always very calm, and he taught me about God. He would speak only of Krishna. He was translating the Gita and was maintaining his business. So, even in his Grihastha days, people knew that he was a very spiritual person. So, and he was doing his business just to maintain his family. That's all. There's no other personal motivation. He didn't want to be a very rich man making a lot of profit. No, nothing like that. He didn't want to show off his opulences. No, he just wanted to be a simple devotee and maintain his family. And rest of the time he was dedicating to writing books. He would read his spiritual master's books, right? Sometimes recite the Sanskrit shlokas out loudly. Right? In the front room, he'll sit and read shlokas. He liked to discuss philosophy with anyone who came. His family keeping mostly upstairs. Actually, Abhay's wife did not show much interest in spiritual life. She was more interested in her own sense gratification. So Abhay would sit alone in the downstairs front room, dressed in dhoti kurta or sometimes a dhoti and only a vest. Often he would be at his writing. While outside the door, his children played with the children of the Ganguly family, who lived in the rear apartment of the same building. So this is how he spent his time in his office. And even his god brother, he says, Sridhar Maharaj. We did not see Abhay as working very hard for making money, nor did he seem very rich or to have a lot of liquid funds. He was attracted more to the spiritual side of affairs than to his own family affairs. He never discussed business prospects with me, whether the business were up or down, or whether he was planning to do this or that. Monetarily, he did not have sufficient funds for giving any to the mission. So he's not making a big profit that he can support the Gaudiya mission also. So he was just maintaining his family and trying to do his best to preach. So whenever his God brothers were doing kirtan, he'll go and sit, participate in the kirtan. Whenever his God brothers give lecture, he'll adhere to that lecture. And sometimes when God brothers become sick, they're not able to give class. Abhay himself will give class. So in this way, he was assisting in whatever way possible for the preaching of the Gaudiya Math to grow. Yeah. So in 1939, Srila Prabhupada wrote a book called as Introduction to Gita-Upanishad. So that is a short essay, and then Prabhupada wanted to print it. Yeah. So Prabhupada, when he was in this college, there is propaganda against Bhagavad Gita. There is propaganda against the Vedas. Abhay had to just tolerate this. Right? So specifically, there was one teacher who used to take these classes called Vidya Ratna classes, the jewel of education. Okay. So when you read the title, it appears that it's a very nice title, Vidya Ratna, jewel of education. But this whole class was about atheism. The theme of the lecture had been that God does not exist and could not exist. That was the whole theme of the lecture. Like if God exists, then he should come and control all the wrong which is happening on earth. Because there is nobody to control this wrong happening on this earth, there is no God. That is the argument. It appears logical for less intelligent people, but Abhay was not in favor of such kind of thoughts. Neither could he argue against this because the teachers were senior to him. Right? In the Indian culture, we have this great respect for teachers. Although he may be an atheist, still we respect them. So out of respect, Abhay could not argue with this teacher. But he was not impressed by the arguments. Right? So Abhay writes, but we do not have the eyes to see God. Even if the Lord personally manifests himself on earth, the quarreling mundaners will not stop their fighting and look upon God or his representatives to ignorance. This is the birthright of the individual soul by the grace of God. So in this way, Prabhupada took this one article, in his magazine, Backward Magazine, first Backward Magazine, 40 pages. He wrote this article with Vidyaratna. Another article was about war. So, and like this, he wrote about 5, 6 articles, and even Bhakti Saranga Maharaj and Sridhar Maharaj, they also contributed one more article, and a nice booklet was made. So at that time in Calcutta, war was also happening. Japanese were bombing Calcutta city, and most of the Calcutta was vacated. So only few families were staying in entire Calcutta, and Abhay was one of them. He did not go because his wife didn't want to go out of Calcutta, so they stayed. And whenever there are sirens, they'll go and hide inside below in the bunker. Right? Whenever there is no siren, they'll be in the rooms. So in this way, Prabhupada stayed there. And he was chanting Hare Krishna and he was offering bhoga to Krishna and eating prasadam. So a life of great faith in God's protection. So Srila Prabhupada lived like that. So of course, there are many things in the war to be covered. Maybe that can be covered by somebody in the next session. How Srila Prabhupada saw this war, what was the cause of this war, what are Prabhupada's views about this war. That can be discussed in the next session. But today I just want to summarize the last few minutes about the internal conflict which happened. So the internal war. So as I told you that this two two parties they start fighting within the Gaudiya Mutt and then that stop preaching. See, in ISKCON also we should be very careful that we do not make this mistake again. In ISKCON also it happened initially, but in 1980s to 1990 it happened, and ISKCON learned lessons from that and then came out very bright and shining and with better growth and more expansion, more number of devotees. So because any time a leader leaves, there is a vacuum, and those followers who are not very mature, they may make some mistakes, and that will disrupt the mission. So Gaudiya was disrupted because of that. Similarly, ISKCON also, we are now taking this movement ahead. So it has to go on for 10,000 years. Now, the main thing we should all do is that we should stay together and cooperate in this mission. If we cooperate with each other without having any controlling tendencies, without having any proprietorship tendencies, then we will see that the mission will go on. But if we bring self-interest in this ISKCON mission, then the mission will get spoiled. The preaching will stop. Like we see that sometimes somebody is a leader in a yatra, in a particular yatra, and he likes to control, and he doesn't allow others to grow. Like, like there was one temple where only one particular guru's disciples used to run the show, and any other guru's disciple comes, he'll not be empowered. So that kind of situation creates a very toxic environment. So, and sometimes the family also want to take over the whole control of a particular center, and his children want to control. So that kind of tendency also should be curbed. Or sometimes it may happen that only grahasthas want to control a particular temple, um, and they don't allow the full-time brahmacharis to preach also. They don't want to them to stay in the temple also. It may happen like that. And the other thing, I mean, brahmacharis want to control the whole temple, and they don't want to sideline the grahasthas. And even in Prabhupada's time, it was happening. Right. So there is a rift between brahmacharis and grahasthas, and Prabhupada had to interfere and manage the situation in such a way that both are happy. So, so with that healthy cooperation between brahmachari, grahasthas, between the temple management and the congregation, between the temple management and the GBC, between the zonal leaders, between the senior devotees, between the preachers and the managers. So nice cooperation between all such kinds of devotees will make a very attractive ISKCON, not a ugly ISKCON, right? And, recently, you might have heard some cases in Patna and other temples where some infights happened. That's all because when a person wants to take control and it doesn't listen to others, it doesn't care for others, such kind of instances may happen. So it's a warning to the ISKCON devotees also that we should be careful not to repeat the same mistake. What happened in 1980s in ISKCON, what happened in 1940s in Gaudiya Mutt, 1930s and 1940s in Gaudiya Mutt should not repeat again in this century, or in the next decade. Because many of the Srila Prabhupada devoted disciples who are very senior, mature leaders within ISKCON, they are in their 70s, and they are going to leave one by one. But if the followers of these leaders are not mature, then what will happen? There will be again fights, and that will create a bad reputation for Prabhupada's movement, and most importantly, the preaching will stop. So it's our responsibility, all of our responsibility, that we should act very maturely, deal very nicely, keeping Prabhupada in the center, take the mission of Krishna consciousness forward. This is one lesson which we can learn from this war, internal war, which happened in the Gaudiya Mutt. Hare Krishna. I like to pause here because Bhubaneswar temple requested me to do class at 8 o'clock. So it takes some 2-3 minutes to walk from here to there. So, if there are any questions anybody has, you can We'll have some discussion to another 2-3 minutes.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Thank you for very nicely summarizing and also the learning for us from the past. Prabhuji, we have just 2 or 3 minutes. We can take one question, the devotees, or one comment or reflection. You can
Hare
unmute
Krishna
your mic.
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna Prabhuji. I'm having a doubt.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, even though they know everything, I mean to say that Gaudiya Math devotees also know the Krishna concept philosophy. If we know deeply about philosophy, then there will be no fight, no Prabhuji. Again, why they fought with each other because of this for these possessions.
Yeah, see, whenever there is material desire, although devotees know the philosophy, but still when they become possessed with material desires, then they fight. Like Indra and Prithu Maharaj, they fought. Indra is a devotee, Prithu Maharaj is also a devotee. But Indra unnecessarily created trouble to Prithu Maharaj, isn't it? So because he had material motivations, he wanted to be the only person having the title of Shatakratu, one who has done 100 Ashwamedha yajnas. So when a devotee also has such kind of wrong mentalities, then you will see that the problems will start. So although they are all devotees, they know the philosophy. We are not this our body. We are soul. We are servants of Krishna. Material things are temporary, but still that tendency is deep rooted. The enjoying tendency is deep rooted. It will not go away so easily. So as devotees, we should try to give up that enjoying tendency also. Right? Even within spiritual circle also, we should give up controlling tendency. Right? Sometimes a preacher may want to control his followers. I have preached to you, I made you devotee. If you want to go anywhere, you should take my permission. Without my permission, you cannot do anything. So that kind of control is not expected. That's very detrimental, isn't it? So that controlling tendency, enjoying tendency is there. Or sometimes a preacher may want to take some privilege, some personal service from his followers. So that's also a wrong tendency. Right? Followers may want to serve him voluntarily, but he should not expect that, okay, everybody should follow me or give me, serve me, give some personal gifts to me. So that tendency should not be there. So such tendencies are dangerous. So if somebody is in a leadership position, then he should develop these qualities, good qualities of not expecting respect, of giving respect to all, of non-exploitative nature, right? So being selfless, being sacrificing, then the community will grow. But if the leader has got some personal tendencies for sense gratification, then that will be very dangerous. Okay, Mataji?
Prabhuji. You told very nicely about Pradhu Maharaj and
Yeah.
Indra.
You will see in Shastras fights, Devatas also fight among themselves. Demons also fight among themselves. The tendencies are there because Kama Krodha is there. It's not gone.
And if we stay in this das anu das, then only there will be no fight. Otherwise, everywhere fight will be there.
Yes, yes, surely there will be fights. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji, and thank you, devotees. Thank you, Prabhuji, for giving this time and also sharing the nectar and your realization. Thank you, Prabhuji. We'll end today's
Hare.
session with the Vaishnava Pranam. Uncha kalpataru. Pitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Tantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Prabhupada Lilamruta ki jai. Thank you, devotee.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.